Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show, North Fort Worth, concrete house. Guess what year? Come join me today in the Build Show. The great thing is that you can come check this house out. It's actually open to the public. My buddy has a coffee shop, Revive Coffee Shop in here, so it's open every day. Come check out this house. It's really special. Grab a cup of coffee and see an amazing cement house. There's not very many of them in Texas, here in Fort Worth. 1913 North Fort Worth, okay? This is a concrete house. Now, concrete's become a big deal right at the turn of the century. You have magazines, Concrete World, you have a bunch of books coming out about how to build cement houses and concrete houses. And if you're a part of the Patreon, you're seeing some magazines and a ton of advertisements about pouring concrete on site. Typically, you didn't have big concrete trucks that would show up, but concrete was a newfangled material that was like this fireproof wonder, material that lasted forever. It was a big deal to be building out of cement. It was a very advanced form of building. And so the fact that this house is built in 1913, I don't know of another concrete house built like this in Fort Worth. And so it's really unique. I want you to check it out. So the story is that this was built by a manager at the Armour meat plant, okay? So Fort Worth became this huge railroad town. It became this stopping place for cattle and beef. And instead of sending it up to Chicago where Armour and Swift were, they set up two slaughterhouses here in the stockyards, Armour and Swift. The Swift building's still there. It's been restored. It's really cool. The Armour building, he was a general manager that got relocated from Chicago to set this up. He was here in the early 1900s, built a bunch of rental houses over here. So this guy was fairly well to do. He was doing well. So in 1913, he decides to build this house. And so you'll see some original details and stuff, but check out this house, right? So we've got concrete columns, right? And look, we've got a chamfered edge. We've got a really interesting bracket up there, or kind of the supporting brackets, corbels. That's not normal, okay? The other thing that's not normal is you'll see these really interesting headers. And when I first walked up to it, I was like, what age is that? Is that like 1880s, 1890s? It looks like a Victorian kind of header. It appears, okay, based on the other architectural details in the house, that this was kind of him reflecting some of his Bohemia, Czech Republic roots that he would have been showing off and sharing. So this was his house. Everything's concrete. The baseboard is concrete, right? And so if you look through these magazines about how these cement houses are built, the floors were built, the walls were built, and then you would infill the windows, infill the doors, infill some of the trim. And so you'll see that inside. It's really cool. Come check it out. Okay, so now we're inside. Check out this mantle, okay? So this is a fireplace inset, which is very common in that period of time, but this is wonderful arts and craft detailing. It's oak, it's quarter sawn oak. You've got a little bit of this lily flower motif here, but very cool detailing. I think original if it's 1913, kind of checking out how this house is put together. Windows and doors, right? Okay, so you see right here, look at this, concrete base, right? So the walls to be concrete, we got a poured concrete, the formed concrete into the baseboard, and then the doors and windows are inset. So we've got kind of this typical, arts and crafts casing, wide jamb, 1x5 kind of casings, but those are all inset into this full concrete framed wall, right? And so if you're looking at the details of how this is put together, a lot of this was framed up, poured completely, and then the wood and the flooring would come in later. So concrete, very fireproof, very cool, but windows and doors kind of set inside that frame. As I was saying, we got the inset, we got original windows, which is great. Jacob kept those. Look at the detailing on the stairs. This is a little bit late Victorian. You see this embossed molding here, which is an egg and dart molding inside here. You're seeing kind of a little bit of a mix of different styles here. This arts and crafts casing, this high wainscot. solid concrete walls. And then we come back into this space, there's 3 or 4 rooms up here. And now you've got these porches on the outside, right? This porch is completely concrete, basin around the outside. We've got 5 panel doors. And so a ton of original fabric in here, guys, a ton of original stuff going on. Great longleaf pine floors. And then let's go outside this porch. It's really awesome. So look at the detailing. We're talking about a house that's 110 years old, right? 1913, we're 2023. Look at the chamfer detailing here, the bracket, the chamfer that stops up at the top. The quality of the concrete is really high, right? The fact that it's not broken up and chipping and falling apart. We've got a concrete porch, right? This would be a concrete wall with a brick veneer on the outside. Amazing details that this is stood up. And look at this railing. Such a cool railing in a house that really was built to last 100 years or longer, right? I mean, it's an amazing shape, really stood the test of time, and to be concrete, yet to still have this kind of architectural detailing is really fun. Okay, guys, 1913, an amazing concrete house. You don't really see many of them, and this one's in really good shape. And the good thing is you can go to Revive Coffee here in Fort Worth and check it out any day. So, really cool things. Check out the dormer on the very top. If you look closely, you're actually going to see an embossed tin, okay, that to make it look like it was the brick, and that's an original material on the outside of that building. But fun details in this thing, original photos that will show you on the inside, the kind of what it looked like, the original owner, who he was, a bunch of fun pictures like that, and great coffee. So check it out. Concrete houses, it was a whole way of building, right? It was a whole newfangled way of building that was very elevated, very hard to do. And the way they would have mixed the concrete on site, poured it into these forms, it's pretty slick. Come check it out. So if you're following me on Patreon for the Passion for Craft, at the journeyman level, you actually see, I'll drop in some of these photos about the concrete house, how they were built, some of those details. It's kind of fun to follow. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.